never gonna let you down. Hi, everybody.
She rickrolled me right before we started. I mean, how do you jump into a
I
podcast?
drooled on myself. Y'all,
She rickrolled me
I did.
right before we started.
Hey, Clay.
What?
Do I?
Yes, you have a funny story for me. You're never going to let me down. You're never going to let me go. You're never going to let me down
Never
or
gonna give you
desert
up.
me.
Never gonna give you up. So
Never going to give, never going to give.
Nope, we're not doing it, people. I get a phone call back when I used to answer the phone
Yes.
from a vice president of development at a lovely institution that I had never heard of. It's at one of those state directionals. So, like East North Dakota State University. I hope that doesn't exist, but I think it probably doesn't. So Clay will Google it just to make sure it doesn't.
Googling.
Yeah. He's going to Google that. But so I get a phone call and she says, Lynn, we met at a conference a while ago and I just loved your persona. I loved your Disney training. I wanted to see East North Dakota State does not exist, but North Dakota State does. See, you're welcome. And she goes, I wanted to talk to you and see if you could help me out. I'm in a bit of a situation. And I said, oh dear. Oh dear.
Oh dear.
And she said, I'm new here. I think she was at the time 6 weeks in.
Okay.
And she said, I recently secured my first big gift. And I was like, yoo-hoo-hoo, celebrity. And she's like, well, she goes, things got interesting after that. And I was like, uh-oh. And she goes, well, it's funny. And I was like, what do you mean it's funny? And she goes, well,
little did she know.
Right? And she would end up on Fundraising is Funny.
A few years later.
Right? Oh, many, many years later.
Are people afraid to talk to us now?
No, they better not be. Fundraisingisfunny.com. All names and locations have been changed. So she says to me, our local healthcare CEO of our big hospital system has generously given us $1 million. And I was like, whoa.
Wow.
Yeah. And half of it came from his resources and half of it, the healthcare system was matching it, correct?
Uh-huh.
So I'm like, wow, that is amazing. I'm so proud of you. Now, again, she's at a state directional institution, not at an elite Ivy or anything. So a 7-figure gift is huge, right?
Yes.
She goes, well,
this is life-changing.
Yeah. And she goes, I'm having a little bit of an issue. And I said, what seems to be the issue? And she said, my marketing coordinator. And I went, but you're the vice president. And she goes, I'm new here. And I was like, okay. And she said, well, we've been working on a press release that'll go out to the media. That's, what Marcom does.
Yes.
Yep. And she said, and so we gave it to the donor to proof and review before we went to print with it and everything. And I said, oh, great. And he wrote back and we had the word healthcare as one word. And he had originally had it as 2 words. And so my person took the 2 words and smushed them back together in 1 word and then sent it back to him.
Okay.
And apparently that healthcare system uses healthcare as 2 words. But the marketing coordinator wrote in the email, yes, directly to the donor, not to the vice president.
No.
Reply all.
No, please don't. Oh.
Which is always a career limiting move. Let's just have an agreement that reply all.
There needs to be
like
a setting
on Google that doesn't allow it.
Well, yeah, and there needs to be an institutional setting, just like there is in CRMs. Like you cannot have access. You have your reply all revoked.
Right. You've had your reply all revoked. Marge and Lois in purchasing. No comment. And half of the people on a listserv. Nothing worse on a listserv than 30 emails that say thank you.
Do we? Oh, okay.
Anyway, so she replies all and says, in order to maintain the academic integrity.
Wait, what?
Of this institution of higher learning.
No, I can't.
And according to the Chicago Turabian Style Guide, healthcare is 1 word. She didn't even add sir or anything like that. She just said, healthcare is 1 word. So I have corrected it And she sent it back.
This is the $1 million donor.
That she sent it to. Well, reply all.
Oh, wait. So this is
Yeah.
No, this is the very, very large donor.
Yep.
And also
the CEO of the healthcare 2-word system.
Oh.
She did. And so the VP goes flying out of her office, she says, and down to the quote unquote shared workspace where the marketing and communications professional works and goes, "What did you just do?"
Oh.
And she said, "I just upheld the academic integrity of this institution."
Oh.
You might be new here, but we follow the Chicago.
No.
Yes, sir. And the VP lost it. And she said, "I don't care if he wants to spell it healthcare with a K or make the H silent and just call it elfcare. He's a $1 million donor. I don't care what Chicago Turabian says. I don't care what the Bible says about it. We will do what the donor says." And the young woman said, "Well, have it your way then, but I'm going to go down on record and I'm going to write an email to you noting that my strong objection to this." So I'm sitting there silent. And I'm not silent very often.
No, but you have rendered me speechless at the moment.
And the VP is like, "So I need you to come in and do some Disney kind of training because I need people to understand that the donor is the customer. And as long as they're not doing anything illegal or unethical, they can spell healthcare however they like." And I was like, "Well, why don't you just fire her?" And so she was like, "I think I've got to do some training." And I was like, "Great, we'll come and do some training. But at the end of the day, if she does not respect your authority," you just keep saying,
I can't even.
I can't imagine it, but she put it in writing.
Yeah.
Preserving the academic integrity.
Well, and just that phrase.
Right?
Right.
As if it, and no offense to this regional directional, it's a lovely institution full of smart, talented people, right?
Yeah.
But if a donor wants to spell healthcare with 2 words and that's the way their healthcare system is branded, let them go. Let them go. Let it go.
You brought that Disney thing full circle there.
I always do. I am representing the brand.
So, but okay. So, I mean, and I can hear some folks
cringing because they're like, "Why aren't you supporting the marketing and communication professional?" I can
hear some folks, and I can hear some folks saying, "But how much, where's the line? How much control does a donor have?"
It's a word.
But, I mean, if you let them respell healthcare, then what's next?
Oh, what's next? It's a slippery slope here, people.
Well,
pretty soon they'll be renaming the institution and wanting control and all kinds of bad things. And to this I say, chill the F out. Chill out. This donor, that's their brand. I understand you have a preferred style guide. But if you do this, nobody dies, first of all. And you're putting the donation at jeopardy.
Well, I mean, what's the old phrase? And I know we've talked about this in another episode where we talked about culture eating strategy, right? Well, strategy eats brand for breakfast.
Absolutely.
Right.
And it's so funny because this is just an example, and I've been in many examples of where the brand is more important than the content. Like, I've never had a donor say, "Well, this document isn't in the brand approved font, so I'm not giving the $10 million you asked me for." Like, I've never had that happen.
And yet I have spent days
weeks,
and had proposals
months,
and cases for support and appeals held up and missed their deadlines because we were fighting over, the font size or, the color of the logo and the way it was printing. And Now, look,
it all has its place, and I don't want, do you know what I mean? So, I don't want people to think that we're not, that we're not being important to the communicators of the world, and that we don't have, guidelines and things like that. But the funny part of all of this is where was the sense, to say, "Hey, VP, I'm not really comfortable with this," or run it up to your director or somebody that you can talk to about it. But no, we don't reply to the donor and everybody and their mother saying that you are single-handedly upholding the academic integrity of the institution.
Well, brand is not academic integrity, but
no, style guide is not either.
No, brand is not. Okay,
you know what has good branding?
What?
Snack companies.
I was just gonna say, you know what else has good branding? Fundraising is funny.
Yeah, Biffy.
Because I hope by now people know that snacks
part of our brand.
It's part of our brand. It's who we are.
We should take a break and everybody should get a snack so that we can talk about and get some popcorn to listen to this story with.
You know who else really lives up to their brand promises?
Who's that?
Our sponsors.
They do, and we're so grateful.
How was that?
For them.
Was that slick?
Yeah, it was.
Did I sneak that in there pretty well?
Did I mention we're a part of the We Are for Good network?
Not in minutes.
Right. It's been at least 60 seconds.
It's been at least.
Right.
So just take a minute, have a snack.
Take a few.
Listen to how our colleagues and our friends at these companies lay out their brand promise. How about that?
That sounds great.
I'm going to snack now.
Me too. I feel satiated.
Satiated?
Satiated.
Satiated, yes.
Satiated. Satiated.
I thought you said satiated, and that's not
satiated.
a word.
It's me trying to use my $2 words.
What is your brand promise? Do you know what I mean? What is your brand promise?
Well, we have key values.
Let me rephrase. You have key value. Okay. Yes. Yes.
Mm-hmm. We see things differently.
What's your Big Mac?
Oh, 2 all beef patties, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions on a sesame seed bun.
There you go. And see, yes.
We deliver the same, just in fundraising.
When I did phone campaigns, right? And we did on-site phone campaigns for universities, healthcare, other social services. We always trained our communicators and our fundraisers. They were not callers. They were not.
That's nice of you.
Right. We always trained them on the Big Mac. Right? Because the way we do fundraising phone calls is our particular brand promise.
I like that.
And every caller, every communicator, every student, everybody could say 2 all beef patties, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions, and a sesame seed bun. And everybody of a certain generation can repeat that. I imagine some of our friend Julie, poor Julie. You know, Julie.
Where's the beef?
Julie. Julie, our producer, who is the queen of all things and wonderful, we give her a hard time because
we love her.
Because we love her. I imagine she has never heard 2 all beef patties, but the point is,
I bet she has. She might be a fan. You never know.
Well, I bet she's had one.
Right.
Anyway, the point is, what's your Big Mac? Right.
And here's the question.
And if you're but McDonald's is not above anymore, right? Well, even in the 70s, my mom, because, you know, it's fattening, right, would order a Big Mac without the middle piece of bread.
Okay, so speaking of funny McDonald's stories.
Yes.
When, where I live, we don't have a McDonald's.
Yeah.
And so when I go to the United States, everybody goes to McDonald's. But my favorite thing is when people go to McDonald's and they'll be like, I'll have a Big Mac meal, supersize it with a Diet Coke.
But I like the taste of Diet Coke better than I like regular Coke.
No.
It's not about saving calories.
Get the leaded gasoline. Don't get the unleaded.
I like the taste better.
I can't do it. It's not going to happen.
But you don't have to. You don't have to understand it.
The irony was hilarious.
The irony is, I admit, brilliant. Have you ever ordered a McFlurry and a Diet Coke? Anyway, that's the old play. Right. So brand promise. Right, and the just, you know, mad adherence to being sure that we follow our style guidelines. Like, how do we encourage people to talk like people?
Mm-hmm. And is your brand guidelines or your guidelines more important than the client, than the donor? Because you're forcing your views on the donor,
yes,
who may not share them.
So. There's one organization that just absolutely love. Their mission is incredible. They do amazing work. The founder, of course, very dynamic, very involved. And the founder is one of those communicators who feels like you need to know everything in his head in order to understand, because you couldn't possibly. And there's a little bit of that there, right? You couldn't possibly understand it unless I tell you every little minute detail, right? Now, in donor communications, and especially in building an individual giving program,
Okay.
We attempted to move into some more of that, short, like the communications that tend to drive immediate response, the communications that tend to drive urgency and engagement, and the things that we know. And if you want me to get really nerdy, I can talk about Siegfried Vogel's studies of human eye movement from the 1930s and 40s that really determine how the eye moves across a page and where to place things on a page. Anyway, right. These big chunky paragraphs in 10-point font, but that was their brand. That was who they were. And so when we went to short paragraphs of 1 to 2 sentences in 14-point font on a very blank page letter, right? No. We tried 2 mailings, right? To current donors that, nope, this isn't going to work, right? After the second mailing.
That blasted 14-point font.
Yep, exactly. Now, increased retention rate by 10 percentage points, hundreds of metrics. But no, this is not who we are as an organization. And
14-point font is objectionable.
And we cannot believe that you would recommend or suggest such a thing and to...
Blasphemy.
Yes. And to counteract our brand and who we are and how we have established this organization. I'm sorry. Excuse me. I'm sorry. You brought me on as a part of your organization to... and you set out these goals to, do this thing. Well, this is how this thing is done. And no, it doesn't follow your brand guidelines. No, it doesn't. Nobody cares about the logo.
Nobody cares.
Nobody cares about the logo.
Well, a couple of people that worked there that worked on the logo.
And God love them for doing it. Thank you.
Bless them. So
looks great on the website. Looks fantastic on the letterhead.
But they're missing the point.
Correct.
They're missing the absolute point.
So what is the point, and what is our punchline here?
Punchline here is...
Wow, you punched that. That was punchline.
Punchline here is don't mistake your priorities, and we don't have to force our own kind of things on our donors, right? And that there is a time when the donor's right. And, a little humility goes a long way. Reply all should be rescinded from people's.
Yes,
do you know what I mean?
Yes, agreed.
Absolutely.
Completely.
It should be rescinded. But all this to say is that, we really need to be thoughtful. We really need to be thoughtful about how we interact.
Yes.
About how our communications can say things about us and that we're not even aware of.
Yes.
And then also that, it matters. The way we communicate with people matters, but it doesn't matter more than what the donor wants from us, what their needs are, those kinds of things.
See, there you go. That to me is the key punchline here. And I'm going to quote Chumbawamba.
Oh.
I know.
Chumbawamba. Okay.
I get knocked down, but I get up again.
Yes.
You're never going to keep me down, right?
I'm here for that.
We thought that music mattered. But does it? Bollocks. Forgive the profanity. Not compared to what people matter. So to paraphrase, right? Does your brand matter? Yes. But not compared to what people matter. And fundraising, whether you are fundraising at major and mega gifts level, whether you're in planned giving, whether you're dealing with high finance or the $50 donor or corporate donors or government grants. Fundraising is a people business. It is about humans talking about humans. Yes.
Because it involves people.
And people are... Yes! Exactly.
Yes.
Because people are funny and people are messy and complicated and weird and irrational and hilarious.
Oh, I mean, I'm going to withhold the standards of this podcast.
We have standards?
Nope.
Well, we do. They're low, but we have them.
We're going to get us some.
We're going to get Well, we should bring in an outside expert to help us work through our values.
We should. And we should have a key mission, vision, value statement.
We should.
We should have a committee.
I'm going to
and a couple of task forces.
Yes, and we're going to want to involve our key stakeholders. So
yes, absolutely.
Let's not ask our listeners, though, to be a part of that. Because,
no.
Tune in next time for Strategic Planning is neither strategic nor planning. Yeah. Anyway.
sorry.
Humans
we
talking to
crack
humans.
ourselves up.
We do.
We hope you'll talk to us. Is there a time when somebody has quote unquote stood up for your brand or something and
Yeah.
in that made a very serious error?
Yeah.
So
it's a phrase. It's not a it's not a phrase that we should use. But has somebody really challenged the things that your organization most holds dear, the things that that you have clung to?
Yeah.
And held it so much that it's, messed something up? Or, hey, let's look at the other side, right? Tell us about, funny branding issues. Tell us about when brand has gone really well.
Right.
Right? When something has happened because your logo was this shade of green and not that shade of green. I'm sorry, I can't help myself. But it's fundraising, fundraisingIsfunny.com.
Yeah. Love to hear from you. And as always, come tell us what our standards are and how low they can get. Have a great day, everybody.
Wow.